Hello, my name is Sheila and I want to tell you a story about this remarkable historic document that we have at the National Print Museum. Some of you will be very familiar with the story of the 1916 Rising, but we have another story to tell here. This document is evidence of a very brave act that was carried out by the compositors and the printer. Their names were Christopher Brady, Michael Malloy and Liam O'Brien. These men were members of the ITGWU, the Irish Trades and General Workers Union, which was based in the basement of Liberty Hall in Dublin. And in that basement was a large press called the Wharfdale Press. And we have an example of that printing press here in the museum as well. These men were already printing membership cards and headed notepaper. They were also printing a newspaper called the Workers' Republic. On Easter Sunday, they met Padraig Pearse and James Connolly, as well as Tomás McDonagh, at Liberty Hall. And they were presented with the text for the Proclamation. They were asked if they were willing to print this document, which was a treasonable offence, and they agreed to do it. These men were already members of the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Citizen Army. So they knew by the text of this that there was going to be an insurrection. The newspaper, the Workers' Republic, had come to the attention of the authorities and they had confiscated a lot of the type. As well as this, you have to remember that it was World War I and so many metals were very rare. So all the type had been confiscated from Liberty Hall. They knew that a company called West in Capel Street had some type, so they went over there and gathered up the type that they needed to print this document. When they got back to Liberty Hall, it was very clear then that they didn't have enough type to print this document, and they had to print it in two halves. So we can see the first half and where it ends, and then the second half. You could also see or appreciate their ingenuity and inventiveness when it came to making some of the type, because they didn't have all the letters that they required for printing this document. I'm going to go through the Proclamation and almost line by line and show you their ingenuity and their inventiveness to make letters. So if you look at the Irish Republic itself, you'll notice that the oar is actually a P and the leg has been made with sealing wax. Come to the end of this line and you might notice that the C is actually an O, and they've manipulated the letter to use it as a C at the end of Republic. On the next line, you might notice that the E in the is actually an F, and a little tail has been put on with sealing wax to make it into an E. There are at least 30 E's in this document that are the wrong size and the wrong type. So if you look here on these lines, I'll start here. We hereby proclaim. You'll notice that two E's in hereby are actually tilting forwards and they're the wrong size. They don't match the other type around it. The spacing is haphazard. So when you come down to the bottom of the document after the word rapine, you see this huge space here. Now this really shows the stress that these men were under when they were putting this document together. Like I said, they had to print the first half, then they had to diss all the letters, place them again, compose them again, and print the document. You might notice that the ink is black throughout. They didn't have enough time to do coloured ink. And you will notice also at the bottom of the document, it is signed on behalf of the Provisional Government and there are 7 signatories. The 7 signatories were Thomas J. Clarke, Sean McDermott, Tomás McDonagh, P.H. Pearse, Eamon Ceannt, James Connolly and Joseph Plunkett.